The summer sun blazed over the dusty country road, making the air shimmer like glass. Rachel Delaney, heels in one hand and phone in the other, stomped through gravel and frustration, muttering under her breath. This was not how her trip was supposed to go. She was a Manhattan girl, born into privilege and polished to perfection. The kind who never pumped gas, let alone walked 3 miles after her GPS led her straight into the middle of nowhere. Her father, real estate tycoon Charles Delaney, had sent her on this reconnection with America trip for PR reasons. "The press needs to see you care," he said. "Go visit the farms we're buying. Smile. Take pictures. Say something about feeding the nation." She didn't argue. Not because she cared. But because her father held the keys to her trust fund. Now here she was, stranded, sweating, and sore, when she spotted it. A rundown barn, a tilted mailbox, and beside it, a man, bent over a rusty old tractor. She hesitated. Then sighed. "What choice do I have?" The farmer barely looked up when she approached. His shirt was streaked with grease, sleeves rolled up, revealing arms built by real work, not gym sessions. He was maybe mid-30s, with sun-worn skin and eyes that studied her not with curiosity, but calculation. "Lost?" he asked, voice rough but calm. "My car died a few miles back. No signal. Do you have a phone?" He jerked a thumb toward the barn. "Line's been down for weeks." She looked at the tractor, then at him. "What's wrong with it?" "Won't start. Carburetor's clogged." "Not that it matters, I can't afford the part." Without thinking, she crouched down beside him. "Excuse me," he blinked. "My dad restores classic cars as a hobby. I know my way around an engine." "You?" He smirked, eyeing her manicured nails. But she pulled back her hair, rolled up her designer sleeves, and got to work. Hours passed. Sweat dripped down her spine, her knees were muddy, and her fingers raw. But the moment the engine roared to life, both she and the farmer erupted in laughter. "Guess I underestimated you," he said. "I get that a lot," she replied, wiping her face with a rag. They sat in the shade, sharing cold lemonade and stories. He introduced himself as Luke Harper. He talked about the drought, the debt, the dying town. He'd grown up here, lost his parents young, and never left. He was struggling, but proud. Determined to protect his grandfather's land. Rachel, in turn, shared bits of her life, fancy parties, cold dinners, and how no one ever asked her what she wanted. Just who she needed to be for others. "You know," she murmured, "you're the first person I've met who doesn't want anything from me." He gave her a gentle smile. "Maybe that's because I don't care who your daddy is." The next morning, Rachel woke up in Luke's guest room, her phone finally charged. Dozens of missed calls from her father. But before she could dial, Luke stood in the doorway holding a yellowed envelope. "This was my grandfather's," he said, handing it over. "I think it's time I showed you something." He led her to a hill that overlooked acres upon acres of rolling fields. "See all this?" he said. "This land doesn't belong to some corporation. It belongs to me. All of it. Has been in my family for generations." Rachel froze. "Wait, the land my father's company is trying to buy?" He nodded. "They offered me millions. I said no. Not because I'm greedy. Because once this land is gone, this whole town dies." She stared at him, then at the horizon. Suddenly, her mission felt like a lie. Her eyes filled with tears. "I helped you, thinking I was doing a good deed. But you're the one saving me." Back in Manhattan weeks later, Rachel stood at a press conference with her father. "I've made a decision," she said to the stunned reporters. "We're pulling out of the Willow Creek deal. Instead, we're establishing a rural renewal fund to support farmers like Luke Harper." Charles Delaney's jaw clenched, but Rachel didn't flinch. Afterward, she walked away from the cameras, dialed a familiar number, and smiled when she heard his voice. "Hey," she said. "Got any more tractors that need fixing?" Sometimes, it's not about what you give, but what you learn when you give. In a world obsessed with power and status, a simple act of kindness can change everything. Rachel came to the countryside thinking she had all the answers. But it was there, in the dirt and the dust, among broken engines and beating hearts, that she found what it truly meant to belong.